Hi, welcome back to iambipin. Today, I'm tackling one of the biggest challenges in landscape painting. It's like it's about making rocks that really it's about making rocks that really look like rocks rather than looking like a lifeless flat potato. So, if you are interested in creating realistic stone textures, then this masterclass is for you. First, I will start with the value value study. As you can see in the screen, uh, it's a it's a study that I have done about the rocks using my graphite pencils. So that's what I'm gonna start. So I'm gonna start with basic cube. Every rock is essentially a cube. But I hope you know what's a cube. And before that, let me start about the 2D form. Okay, the 2D form and rock is a 3D form. So we have a cube, 2D form is like a square. If every side is equal, then we have a square, and that kind of a cube, I don't think you will ever get that in nature. Maybe it exists, but it's pretty rare. Most probably, what you will be getting is a 3D form of a rectangle. And that rectangle, the 3D form of a rectangle is called cuboid or rectangle prism. That's what it is called. I hope I'm audible to you. Uh, the number of viewers who are watching this live is pretty low, I guess, but I am okay with it. But whoever is watching, uh, if ever you are having some doubts or some queries, feel free to comment. Then I will be more than happy to reply. Okay, let's start. So the cube has 6 faces. I think I would rather use my fountain pen because it won't be that much visible to you right now. So I would rather use my fountain pen. This is the 3D form of his square. So this is the cube. Here, this is the length, this is the width, and this is the height. So here, length equals width equals height. And for a cuboid, everything will be different. Length, width, height. So a rock is essentially a cuboid. So you might be wondering how. Let me explain. So let me use my 10B pencil and explain. This is a cuboid, right? And if you create some edges, irregular edges, like this, then it will look like a stone. A rock. And so this is what I meant. So playing, if you keep playing with the sizes, you will understand it better. So this is the basic thing. So if you want to create a cube, if you want to create a rock, in real life rock, will look like this. So this is an extension of the cuboid with multiple faces. So in order to get this thing right, so here suppose the light is coming from the right side, top right, then this is the core shadow, and I'm using cross hatching to define it better. Because I want to show the darkest part. This is the darkest part because light is coming from here, right side. So it will cast shadow. This is the basic shadow, and this is the core shadow. And this part is the darkest. This is also the darkest. This one will have the midtones. So if you want to learn how to make realistic realistic rock textures, then the one thing you will have to start, I mean the starting point is that you should start with the cube. Okay, and to make this kind of realistic rocks, what you must learn is you must learn to arrange cuboids in order. Suppose a cuboid is lying here. I want to add, I want to quickly make the shadow of this rock, otherwise you might think I want you to understand it better. So that's the reason I'm shading it. So consider a cuboid like this that's standing upright. In nature, you will see rocks lying in an irregular fashion. But if you look keenly, you will notice certain patterns. So this is one cube here, cuboid here, and there may be other cube that's lying like this. Just that you have to visualize it in the 3D form. And let there be another small cuboid lying over here. And you will only see it partially because it's lying on the back of this cuboid. So let me tell you how to create an interesting shape out of this. So what you have to do is make some irregular shapes like this. Make some bends, jagged edges. And here, as you can see, it's a cuboid. Try to extend it. Then it looks irregular. And then make realistic lights. Realistic lighting. Then you have, and here also, here suppose the light is coming from left, top left, and that's also that's behind this rock. So the highlights will be here. The core shadow, the shadow will be here, and this will be the darkest part. And here, there will be highlights and midtones as this is at the top. So this is how you create rocks. I'm explaining everything in detail because it's supposed to be a masterclass. So once I am done with explaining, then I will move over to watercolor. This is about understanding the basic concept, the foundations, the basic shapes. So tilt, tilt that 3D structure, make some cuts, then you have things ready. And with 2H pencil, you can make some cuts like this so that it looks more natural. When you use watercoloring, we use knives like this to create these kind of textures. While shading, we use 2H pencil. We start with the 2H pencil and then we will move over to darker pencils. Like, let's see what I have done. There are certain cracks. And of course, there will be this shadow part. Here, the light source is here, so shadow will be on this side. Since this is about rocks, I won't go much detail into the shadow because there is something called shadow perspective. So right now I'm just explaining. That's it. I wanted to just show the basic theory behind this thing, because you have to visualize it in 3D first. Then I'm talking about the beginners, near beginners. I know for experienced guys, it would be pretty easy. So let me illustrate. Let me illustrate. Let me make this illustration for you, because that's what I had promised in the thumbnail. So I'm gonna do this now. So I will quickly make a sketch using the 3D form that I have discussed later. Let me do it using my fountain pen so that we can all see. I will start with the basic sketch. So I will start making these basic fundamental shapes. Then I will convert that into a 3D structure. I mean, a realistic 3D structure. So these are all like cuboids. And this, by the way, is not a cuboid, this one. It's almost like a cuboid, but something whose shape has been changed. Just have patience. After I'm done with the basic sketch, I will go into the details. I mean, I will try adding more details into it so that you will understand the, I mean, will be able to understand in depth, because I believe I have explained you about the fundamental theories, the 3D forms, the cuboid. So this is how you are going to implement it in real life. So this is the basic shape. Now I'm gonna sketch. I'm using a 6B. Let me, the light source is from the right side. So this will be the darkest part. So I'm changing the shapes. Because earlier it was just the mathematical 3D shapes, but that kind of shapes you won't see in nature. So I'm wanting to look more realistic, so I'm changing the shapes. As you can see how I transform that cuboid into a realistic shape. So you will increase or decrease the volume. Here I have decreased the volume, here I have increased the volume, so that you get this realistic shape. So make irregular, irregular shapes, cuts, whatever you feel like doing, but at the end it should look like it should look like a rock. Here the light source is from here, from the top left side. So core shadow as well as the cast shadow will be on the right side. So this big rock is uh, is staying on top of uh, these small stones. So at the end, I promise you, I will create a watercolor version of this rock, of this illustration. So just be patient. Rocks will have all kinds of shapes and textures on it because it has been laying on the open space for a long, long time. So it would have seen snow, it would have seen rain. So it's a weathered snow. So for those of you who are still watching this live demonstration, I would really appreciate if you subscribe to my channel and like the like this video so that it will help me. I mean, it will encourage me to do a lot of live demos. I need your support for continuously doing that. So make each rock look distinct so that it will have its own character. So usually I'm getting that shape right, then I will keep on adding details so that it looks more natural. I mean, so that they look, I mean, they all look more natural. It's, I agree, everything is different, but altogether they form this big structure, right? Now I believe it's time for me to add more details to it. This is a hard stone, so it will have this jagged surface. Even in the shadows, there should be, I mean, it shouldn't look flat. There should be some textures and things that look, I mean, that will create more interest in the subject. I believe it's time that I use blending sticks. Blending sticks are like this. I mean, it looks like this. Once you got your basic thing right, then it's better to use blending sticks. So you would have noticed by now that once I start using blending blending sticks, the blending became more natural. It, it gave that unique, the textures look more realistic now. So, so make sure that you leave some of the strokes as such. So it should be a combination of smooth smooth textures as well as dark ones. I'm using 10B pencil so that this part is more darker. You will see all sorts of shades on the rock, and you just have to make it more pronounced by making certain lines more prominent. And not all lines should be made prominent, only a few. So once I am done with this value study, I will create the watercolor version of this. I'm trying to add the shadows. I'm adding the shadows now. So I'm repeating it again. The light source is on the top left part, so it will cast shadow on the right side. So once I'm done with this, I will create the watercolor version. I want the edges to be smoother, so for that I will use the blending tool that I have, blending stick. So, with shadows, I mean, the shadows that are nearer to the object will be darker and that will have sharp edges. But as it goes the distance, the intensity of shadows will decrease. I mean, it will become less intense and the edges will be more blurred. So that's what I have tried to do it here. Maybe I want the shadows to be more darker, so that's what I'm doing right now to make it look more darker. So as it moves away from the distance, its intensity decreases. So I think I have done a reasonably good job with the shadows. I want to make these rocks look more realistic. So for that I'm detailing. Now I believe it's time for me to do the watercolor version of it. Give me 2 minutes as I have to arrange things in order. So let me get my pen ready. So I'm gonna create watercolor version of this. Let me get tissues as well. Okay. When it comes to watercolor, we go with the cuboid shape first. Then I will create a rock out of it. Two rocks with different views. And for this rock, this part is inside the soil. So let me do it and then you will understand what I meant. I'm creating the rock. Again, you can still see the shape, right? So this is how you create a rock out of a cube. Basically rock is a cuboid. Then you can use this palette knife to create textures on it. You can even use a debit card or a credit card to This is how you create a rock. This is the very basic shape. Then you may use toothbrush or some toothbrush. I use a new toothbrush for this, and it's used now. I mean, I have been using it for quite some time, and then splattering. You create some nice textures, and if you want to, and if you would like to see bigger textures than that, this is now this is the shadow. This is a 300 GSM handmade paper. Like I said earlier, the shadows will be darkest near or underneath the object, and as it moves away, the intensity will decrease. The edges will also be that will that will be more blurred. Now this is dry brush technique. You can see it, it has less water in it, so make some. Now let me try to create the same, almost the same rock here. Make these lines. random lines. Then we use the card. Cards make more prominent lines, I guess. These are two different perspectives. So now I believe it's time for me to create the watercolor version of this, of the value study that I have done earlier. Like last time, I'm going to create a basic shape here. For those of you who joined lately, yeah, I'm trying to create a watercolor version of the value study that I have done earlier. So I will suggest you to watch it after I'm done with this demo so that you will understand it better. I try to explain everything. So I I knew that it will be boring for some, but still I thought of explaining it because it was supposed to be a master class. So I have to explain everything. So I'm done with the basic sketch. Now what it remains is to paint. And sunlight is coming from top right. The edges will obviously be lighter because the light falls from the left side. I think the shadows, it's combination of ultramarine and burns, Once the basic thing is ready, I will start adding the details. So till that time, let me try adding first. It's better to complete it. Something what I have started, then I will keep on detailing it. I'm kind of defining the rocks. It's true that I have stopped explaining a bit. Explaining. The reason is a lot of my viewers have left. So I was kind of bit disheartened because I'm trying my best to explain. But still, anyway, let me do what I'm supposed to do. can add any of your yellow mix to it, then add a bit of burnt sienna to it. Here I'm using yellow ochre, then burnt sienna. So understand that this is a preliminary wash. A lot of detailing remains, and if you are interested in learning that, just remain, just stay put. I assure you that you are gonna learn a lot regarding these rocks. I will try to explain everything I know. Whenever you have some doubts, just make few comments. I mean, just shoot your doubts as comments. my aim was to create, um, distinct stones. Each stone should have its own character. It shouldn't look same. Every rock having same texture, every rock almost have the same volume. No, it shouldn't be the case. Okay, now let me add the textures. You can use palette knife, make some lines like this. You might be thinking that what I am doing, but once I lay the second wash over it, then you will see, the kind of lines that I am drawing right now. It will be more prominent and visible. Let me start with the splattering. This was splattering because it had this long dots, big dots. This is splattering. This is a nicer, small. One thing you must note or you must understand is that when you are doing splattering, use with different colors and then wipe it off. I mean, wipe the dots that are outside the volume of your subject using a tissue paper. See, it's all gone. You can even use your brush, use brush. You even use brush to create these kind of shapes. and use bag. Use I'm using dagger brush now. Even create interesting shadows with it. I mean, core shadows. And for those of you who are still watching this, I would request you to kindly subscribe to my channel so that I can keep doing this, because your support is important to me. I'm sure you would have learned something new. Now let me add the final wash so that those lines that I have drawn using the palette brush comes alive. Before that I have to clean my palette, so just give me 2 minutes. Totally wet it again. Now you can make this more prominent by scraping with your credit or debit card. I'm sure it would. Now the textures are more lively now. Okay, now using the same. Now with now with dagger brush, I have to make these lines that I have created using debit card more prominent. So I'm making it more darker so that it looks more prominent. Only now oh, thing has come up now. I think one of my student is watching my live demo. I think it's Ishita. Hope you're watching and hope you are learning too. I want to I want to add more details to the other rocks. So let me be quick. I guess you are noticing how I am creating all these textures. All it remains is to create textures for these three rocks and then adding the shadow. Now I believe it's time for me to add the shadows. Now let me quickly add the background, and then I guess we are done. Yeah, this is what we call happy accidents. Accidents do occur in watercolor, so I will have to rectify it quickly. Let me try again. I don't know. I think that's beyond me. To create a rough texture over there. So I believe it's time for me to sign off. So those of you who haven't subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. And please like this video and share with your friends so that this video gets more visibility. I think it's better to sign on the left side. Yeah, I think it's dry now. So do you have any questions? I believe it was good enough for you to follow. You would have learned something new regarding rock textures, I believe. But to add a few more textures here and there using the Rigger brush. Now I believe it's time for me to sign off. Uh, please, please subscribe to my channel so that you won't miss out on my future live demos. I guess you would have learned something new today. Thank you.